Closing Table with Loans by Katrina. Thank you for coming back and pulling up a seat once again. Today, we are talking about a topic that is happening in real life to so many of us all the time, and that is divorce. What do we do in real estate once we get to that point of it's time for a transition? Well, today I am joined at the closing table with my beautiful friend, Realtor Miss Tina Dixon. Welcome to the closing table.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm glad you came. You look amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's been a minute.
Likewise.
It's been a minute. Thank you. I've been watching you from afar doing your thing. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you.
Thank you.
So, Tina, we are going to talk today about a space that some people don't like to talk about, but
Right.
in our world, decisions have to be made, tough conversations have to be held, and we find ourselves almost in a counseling kind of position sometimes.
Most times. Yep.
Because divorce is a little tricky. Like, we know we got to sell the house. We know possibly we're going to buy another house. But getting past the tough conversations with the Mr. and the Mrs. or the almost future former, whatever we want to call it. So how you been navigating that?
Oh, well, you know what? Honestly, in those situations, usually they're not, I'm dealing with them on separate occasions.
Okay.
Both parties usually are not present together. So I'm having, a conversation with one, and then after I wrap that one up, I have, a consultation or a conversation with the next one. So with them being separated, it makes it a little bit more easier to navigate, but divorce in itself is very emotional.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
And understandably so, because it is a life transition.
And just kind of, I think, depending on where you are in the terms also can make it easier or not. If one person still is trying to hold on, another person's not. But when both people have kind of come to terms, it moves differently when we understand what's the main thing.
Exactly.
Especially in this situation, we're talking about a liquidating an asset, give or take. So in that space, first of all, let me back up because I need everybody to know who are you with brokerage-wise? Tell us a little bit about Tina Dixon and the experience that we get.
Absolutely. Well, I am Tina Dixon, Realtor with Coldwell Banker Realty. I am your life transitions real estate queen. I have been in the real estate industry. I just celebrated my 5-year anniversary. So,
yes.
Yay. But yeah, so I service the Metro Atlanta area.
Okay.
And actually not just Metro Atlanta, because I don't know if you've seen, I'm actually all over Georgia.
I see you moving. I see you doing your
From
thing. I
middle
see
Georgia,
you.
South
Yes,
Georgia,
yes.
West, mostly the West and the South, though, metros of Georgia. Absolutely.
So I know, and I want to let our audience know, you didn't start in the real estate space. We said we just celebrated 5 years. You came out of what space?
Cosmetics.
And we also were in corporate America.
Corporate America. I mean, you name it. Corporate America. I started off in the software industry with SAP. So corporate America, and then my position was terminated. They let go a whole team, a whole business unit, really, about 300 people. But from that, I transitioned into cosmetics, which is my own business. And then we hit COVID. And then I had to pivot again, and I ended up pivoting into custom apparel because I was making custom masks, and then it went from custom masks to custom T-shirts, custom items, just custom apparel and custom items. And then from that, I ended up transitioning into real estate. Actually, I won't say transition. I was doing all of it.
all of the things. And you did them all so well. So I'm so happy I got to be able to be on the sideline, in the next seat, in many of your endeavors. We've done businesses together. You were with us with Freedom by Design when we started. So just going and navigating those spaces, and it's just seeing you blossom and continue to be strong. So people, pay attention.
Yes.
We make it look good. We out here in these streets getting it done. But let's come back to divorce and talking about the transition. So what I heard you say is having them separate and talking to them a lot of times is a better situation. But we still, just like any real estate transaction, they have to be on common ground about what it is
Absolutely.
that we're doing. So take us through a initial consultation, if you would. What would that look like?
So let me explain. These divorce consultations, they can happen in two different phases.
Okay.
One is in the beginning where it's more of a separation. You're not divorced yet. It's separation. So you're having a conversation early. And usually those conversations, you're dealing with two parties who are already aligned. They've made the decision that, we're going to go our separate ways. Let's sell the house. And so those I can actually have together.
Okay.
And they go much smoother because they're already aligned. They know what the goal is. So I don't have to, kind of bring them back and recenter them on what the actual goal is. So those pretty much go like any other consultation. But we do have to talk about, the equity because in the beginning with them, they haven't went to court yet. But the other side is, if it's a divorce sale and this is a court order sale, it's completely different. You're dealing with a different dynamic at that point, and usually there's tension. Usually,
because this is after. Okay.
And
so we've gone through the things.
Sometimes they're not aligned. There's one person that, it was the judge who made the decision that this house has to be sold. So emotions are high.
Okay.
And it's very important that I remain a neutral and third party. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm taking sides. And usually in those conversations, I don't even want to know what happened. I don't talk about, why you're here.
Right.
That's personal. And so I stay out of that. I remain neutral. So the key is not to make somebody feel like I'm, picking sides.
Correct. Absolutely.
So that is why I say it's easier when I just talk to them separately. Usually they're going to be separate anyhow. And
it's just about the house, the
house.
transaction,
exactly.
Not any of the other things.
Nothing
to
else.
keep it clear.
We're not going to talk about nothing
that
else.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Now, what drew you to that space? Because it's a very, as you're sitting here talking, it's a slippery slope. It can be. It doesn't have to be. As long as you're going to be professional, which I know that you are, it keeps everything in the, where it needs to be out front on the table. And we're only talking about the transaction, which should be emotionless.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we
sort of. But yes.
In most cases, it won't be. But honestly, Katrina, I wouldn't say I was necessarily drawn to it. I would say I was more so called to it. And the reason I say that is because 99% of my business is referral based.
That's right.
And I took not necessarily a pause, but I had my slow moment in real estate. And as I was preparing my comeback, I was just, you have to take inventory of how do you meet your clients, and just going over, thinking about all the people I've served, who referred them, why they referred them to me. And I started noticing the pattern. And I was like, okay, most of these people that are being referred to me, they're usually referred and they're going through some type of major life transition, which is what made me start focusing on major life transitions. And people are referring me to help people that they know, to help them through these major life transitions. And so for me, it's a major opportunity, to be an impact for somebody who's making one of the most major decisions in their life, a transition in life. So I would say I was kind of called to it.
I like that.
Not necessarily drawn to it.
And it's important as we navigate life, as we were joking prior to starting to film at this big age that we are now, to know when God is calling us to a thing versus when we're so good at it. So just identifying that means that if you're called to it, you've been equipped for it, you're perfectly positioned so you can navigate those waters without any difficulty. So I heard you say there are two different sides of the coin, that pre and then now we're post. So what are some of the pitfalls that people, or some of the misconceptions that people may have going into, hey, we're going to sell, and just what are they thinking? And you're like, no, I have to recenter, and this is what the market says, like that kind of conversation.
Well, with homes, homes, there are memories that are made in homes.
Mm-hmm.
So people have these memories attached to the home, as they should,
Mm-hmm.
and they have their vision of, or, what they think the home is worth. And it's based off sentiment, and not necessarily market
Right.
data. So I do have to have those tough conversations sometimes. Sometimes you have people who are right on point, but sometimes you have to have the tough conversation that is not necessarily based on what you value the home, but what the market says the home
Mm-hmm.
will sell for, and what others
Yes.
are willing to pay for the home. So, in those situations, I have to help them separate the memories from the asset, because you're in this transition,
Right.
and so you have to make a decision that's smart financially and not emotionally tied.
While you're navigating walking the line and
Mm-hmm.
remaining neutral, how do you manage the ex-husband or ex-wife that's trying to pull on you a little more? Because it's like children. Of course,
Well,
they
yeah,
we kind of play. So how do you navigate it and draw your lines and set boundaries?
just having structure, because what I like to do is go ahead and set up we have a plan. We set that plan. We have timelines,
Mm-hmm.
especially with dealing with divorce. If it's court order, what a lot of people don't know is when it's court order, you have very little time to bring the house to market. So, and usually is you guys have like 7 to 10 days.
Mm.
Right. Yes. You
Okay.
usually have like 7 to 10
Okay.
days to go to market. And that's why I say divorce is two different scenarios. There's a before you file the papers, you're separated, versus court order.
Okay.
It's different. With court order, we got 7 days to get this house to market, and so you have to pay attention to the facts. We
Mm.
we have to look at the condition of the home. If there's delayed maintenance, if
Oh
there's
yeah.
you
Because
have to think.
who's doing the things, the repairs?
Exactly. And then
Is
I
that
have to manage that, because that can be a problem,
oh,
because you have one party
oh
saying,
my
I'm not paying for it, I'm not paying for it. And I understand that, but what I have to do is, like you say, resend them and just let them know, well, this is what it is. So you have to understand, we're bringing this house to
God.
market, right? As is. And so you have to understand what you can sell it for. And we're on a limited time. We're on a very tight timeline.
Oh my goodness. Like
Yes.
when you said 7 to 10 days, that made it look very different.
Very different.
Because in my space as the loan officer, I have many people who are they're post divorce, or they're all everything is almost settled, and now they're working to say, okay, let me look at my credit, let me see all of the things. Like I recently had a person that came to me, and they had three lates, three 30-day lates consecutively, because in the divorce emotions were high and
Mm-hmm.
people didn't pay the mortgage, and it was
Mm-hmm.
a joint. So when you didn't pay and you didn't pay it, it hurt both. It's like, well, but we're divorced now. I have it. Well, you got three 30-day late. So you're going to have to wait until your credit catches up to where you are, because the divorce doesn't change the fact that you didn't pay
Right.
your mortgage because of the emotional toll. So with that, you're selling. Is it an opportunity too for you to sell each person a new house? How do you navigate that?
So it does bring that opportunity, depending on the financial situation,
Okay.
and what the final settlement is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Honestly, sometimes it's better to just wait,
Gotcha.
during for certain situations,
Correct.
especially when there's financial uncertainty, there's emotional uncertainty, and you're still waiting for the final settlement to
Mm-hmm. That
happen.
makes sense.
And the reason I say that is, with divorce, what the judge orders, it can completely change your financial stance, and what you can qualify for, because you got to remember, debt incurred when you were married is y'all's debt. And
Mm-hmm.
when you were married, you probably looked at it like, oh, that's her debt or that's his debt. But the judge can say, this is y'all debt, and you both have to split this debt. So now you have debt, that you have to cover. And you're also now one income instead of two
Two.
incomes. So
Mm-hmm.
it changes what you may be able to afford comfortably, and can impact your credit as well. So sometimes waiting, um, is the best option, temporarily renting, and then we can revisit it later once you've had the opportunity to reset. But in some cases, people are, in the place where they can go ahead and buy something else right away, whether they have the savings or the financial backing.
And or the credit. But yeah, when you say that, it makes me think about a client who some years ago was going through a divorce and didn't know, and their pension was being attacked in the divorce. So it was difficult for them to pull monies that in their mind were going to be readily available.
Right.
But again, now those are marital assets, and the spouse is entitled to a percentage of it. So just kind of looking at it. So that's good to know that some people can't just jump right back out there. Sometimes you will have to take some time and wait. And even though it's frustrating, it may help relieve some of that emotional distress just to kind of take a step back. And because everything is heightened when you're going through, and it's not just you, if there are children involved and other family members are involved. So it's so much that goes into divorce, and just to know that you've been called to it and you're having, being able to pour into people in one of their most difficult and most vulnerable.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's not for the faint at heart, for sure.
No.
So what would you say to a person that has sold, they have closed on the house, all assets have been divided the way they were supposed to be divided? What would you say to them as it relates to starting over?
Well, I would say to them, don't look at it as starting over. Look at it as starting forward.
I like that.
Yes, this is your opportunity to have like a fresh start and look at where you are now and where you're going and get aligned with your fresh start, your new chapter. So don't look at it as starting over. You're starting forward. You didn't move, you moved forward. You closed one chapter, let's start the next.
I like that. So also I wanted to ask you, in this space of life transitions, is there a scenario or a case that you've had that has just been like, oh my goodness, that one was one for the books. I learned a lot from that situation, and it helped you to pivot in your practices as a professional?
Yeah, I'm actually going through one right now. And I'm learning as I go. But, like when we started this conversation, divorce sales can, emotions are high. And oftentimes I try to talk to both parties and let them know, don't make decisions off of emotions, because oftentimes those decisions, they don't help. They just hurt. They hurt the situation. And once it's court order, you have a legal responsibility. And so trying to interfere with the process, you could find yourself in contempt of court. And actually, that is kind of what's going on now.
Interfering in what way?
Interfering with the sale of the house. Yeah. So, missed appointments, won't let me come in, can't put the sign in your yard, can't list the house. He's just interfering with the sale. And so basically we had to delay it. They had to go back to court. And now he is, it's been filed that he's in contempt of court. But like I said, every situation is different. So I learned something from every client that I meet. I learned something, take something new from the situation. I know that you may have two people who are not aligned, but how far they're willing to take it is, I'm just learning new things.
Yeah, how to navigate it. And so are you involved with the court at all? So once they're identifying you as their listing agent, do you have to report to the court? What is your involvement there? Are you only dealing with the two entities?
Well, I deal with the attorney.
Okay.
So I have to keep the attorney up to date on what's going on, and the attorney reports back to the court.
Okay. So is it his, hers, or whoever they get to decide?
Well, actually, when you're dealing with a property that has been court ordered, you actually the parties can't use someone that they know. They cannot. It has to be a neutral party. The judge.
So how do they find you?
So to find me, I build relationships with attorneys.
I like it.
Yep, build relationships with attorneys. Also, you can check the the county records, because divorce is public record.
Right.
You know, so marketing yourself and putting it out there that, you know, you have experience in this field, and also being involved with some divorce transactions, those referrals. So they don't know me. They were referred to me.
Correct.
You know, so I don't know either party personally, but somebody told them about me. And they can't just say, this is who we want. They have to present it to the attorney. They have to give the attorney 3 realtors, and then together they decide who will represent them.
Oh, did not know that. We learned something today.
Yes.
Okay. So we have our life transition extraordinaire in the place. Is there anything else, Tina, that you would want to tell individuals who are getting ready to, they're approaching this phase in their life, of how they can reach out to you, any tips that you want to share before we wrap up?
Yes, absolutely. I think the main thing that I would like to share with people is, you know, my approach to this is not just a transaction. I understand that it's a transition. And like we touched on before, don't look at it like you're starting over. You're starting forward, and look at it as a new chapter, a fresh start, an opportunity to reset, refresh, and realign. It's not the end of your story, it's really the beginning of your next chapter, you know. And so if you're going through those life changes, those life transitions, you need someone who's a neutral party, who understands, who can lead with empathy and still give you that guidance, the right guidance to help you move through the process smoothly, and so you can close that chapter. Tina Dixson,
I love
the
it.
Life Transitions Realtor.
And Tina, what's your socials?
My social is my fave homegirl on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
I love it. So, family, that is another episode for us at the closing table. We are so glad that you pulled up a seat today. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you tell a friend, tag a friend, and come back next week because we have more to talk about. Love you. Talk to you soon. Peace.